Hello, students. Today we are going to get into part one of A Triumph of Surgery. It's this really delightful story by James Herriot. And you know what's so cool? He wasn't just a writer, he was an actual veterinarian doctor. This story is all about a little dog named Tricky, and believe it or not, how being loved too much can lead to some really big problems. Okay, so here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll meet Tricky and the other key players. Then, we'll figure out what's really wrong with him. It's a case of too much love. After that, we'll see the doctor's big warning, the drastic decision he has to make, and finally, what life is like for Tricky at the clinic. Sound good? All right, first up, let's meet the main characters. So the whole story is told by our narrator, who happens to be a vet. Then we have Mrs. Pumphrey, Tricky's owner. Now, she is super wealthy and just adores her dog. Maybe a bit too much, if you know what I mean. And of course, the star of the show, Tricky, a little dog who has no idea his pampered life is about to be turned upside down. Now, before we jump in, let's talk about the title, A Triumph of Surgery. It sounds kind of serious, right? Well, triumph just means a big victory. But here's the tricky part. Surgery. It doesn't mean an actual operation with scalpels and all that. Nope. In this story, surgery is just another word for a veterinary clinic or hospital. So really, the title is all about a victory at the vet's clinic. Makes sense now, doesn't it? So our narrator, the vet, is just driving down the street when he sees Tricky, and he is absolutely shocked by what he sees. I mean, listen to this description. He looked like a bloated sausage with 4 legs. Can you just picture that? It's kind of funny, but also really sad. His eyes are all red and watery, his tongue is just hanging out. You can tell right away that this poor little guy is in bad shape. So the big question is, how on earth did Tricky get like this? Well, this gets to the heart of the whole story. It's what you might call a classic case of being loved a little too much. And this is where we see the huge disconnect. Mrs. Pumphrey and the doctor are looking at the same dog, but seeing totally different problems. She sees Tricky lying there with no energy and thinks, oh, the poor thing must be malnourished. Her solution? More food. But the doctor? He knows exactly what's going on. Tricky's only real fault is that he's greedy. The dog will literally eat anything, anytime. That's the real issue here. And when we say more food, what are we talking about? Well, on top of his regular meals, Mrs. Pumphrey admits to giving him all these little extras. Things like malts and cod liver oil, and even a bowl of Horlicks at night to help him sleep. And don't even get me started on the sweets. She says she tried to cut down on the cream cakes and chocolates, but she just couldn't help herself. It's a total recipe for disaster, for sure. So you've got all this food going in, but what about the energy going out? Well, basically nothing. There's practically zero exercise. The gardener, who used to play with him, has lumbago, which is this really bad back pain, so that's out. Even the walks have gotten super short. So Tricky's entire day is just eating and lying around. That's it. Okay, so the doctor sees all of this, puts 2 and 2 together, and realizes he has to get serious. No more nice suggestions. He gets a very severe tone in his voice and gives Mrs. Pumphrey a warning that she desperately needs to hear. And he does not mince words. He's super direct. He tells her, look, if you don't cut his food right down and give him more exercise, he is going to be really ill. He's practically begging her to be strict and put Tricky on a proper diet. It's a now or never kind of situation. So, what does Mrs. Pumphrey say? She promises she'll do it. Oh, I will, Mr. Herriot, she says. But, you know, the look on her face tells the real story. The vet can see it. He knows she just doesn't have it in her to say no to Tricky. And as he watches her walk away, he has this sinking feeling. He knows exactly what's coming. And yup, just like the doctor knew it would, the inevitable happens. And it happens fast. Just a few days later, he gets the call he was expecting. It's Mrs. Pumphrey, and she is in a total panic. Tricky won't eat anything, not even his favorite foods. He's throwing up, and he just spends the whole day lying on the rug, panting with absolutely no energy to move. Now, the doctor was ready for this call. He knew this day was coming, and he already had a plan in his head. As soon as he hears how bad things are, he knows that just giving advice isn't going to cut it anymore. It's time for something much more drastic. So what's the plan? He tells her firmly that there's only one solution. Tricky has to be hospitalized for about a fortnight. That's 2 weeks, so he can be observed. See, the only way to actually save the dog is to get him out of that house and away from Mrs. Pumphrey's well-meaning but ultimately dangerous pampering. Of course, Mrs. Pumphrey is absolutely devastated, but the doctor stands his ground. So, as he's carrying poor little Tricky to the car, her entire staff rushes out with all of his stuff. And I mean, just get a load of this list. He has a day bed and a night bed, his favorite cushions, toys, rubber rings, separate bowls for breakfast, lunch, and supper, and an entire wardrobe of coats. It's completely insane. The doctor knows there's no way all that junk is going to fit in his car, so he just floors it and drives away. And so, Tricky is on his way to the clinic, a place that is a million miles away from his cushy life. The doctor looks over at this pathetic little animal panting on the seat next to him and gives him a little pat on the head. Yep, Tricky's life of luxury is officially over. A whole new world awaits. When they get to the clinic, the other dogs in the house, the doctor's dogs, all come running up. But Tricky, he doesn't do anything. He just looks at this pack of dogs with these dull, lifeless eyes. The doctor puts him down on the carpet, and he just lies there. Doesn't move. He's just too sick to do anything at all. The other dogs are kind of curious at first. They come over, they circle him, give him a good sniff for a couple of seconds, and then they make their verdict. They decide he's a boring, uninteresting object and just wander off. Imagine that! For a dog who has been the center of the universe his whole life, being ignored. That's a huge wake-up call. So, you're probably wondering, what's the doctor's big fancy treatment plan? A bunch of injections? Some special expensive medicine? Nope, not even close. His plan is so simple, it's almost shocking. For the first 2 days, no food at all, just lots and lots of water. And that is where we're going to stop for part 1. So, what do you think? Is this super simple treatment actually going to work? How is this incredibly pampered dog going to survive with no special food, no comfy cushions, and no Mrs. Pumphrey to fuss over him? We'll have to wait and see what happens in part 2.